I never know. Like, I want to start 8:15, but like I can't, you know? No, no, not because you. Like, 'cause whatever. Okay, I'm starting. The title of the class is Knowing Oneself, Influence versus Influencer. Okay. So, would anyone like to read the first English little paragraph right here?
I can read
Yeah,
it
go,
if you want.
Dina. Of
Okay.
course.
Imagine that you are walking into a shul and see a sign prominently placed that read, "It is forbidden to punch your friend with your fist." You would be shocked. What type of barbarians are these people? And so you walked over to the Gabbai and asked him, "Why in the world do you need to have such a sign?" He answers you, "Well, sometimes things get a bit heated, and it isn't uncommon for a man to punch his friend. So we felt the sign would help sometimes." At which point you say to yourself, what type of people is it that need a public warning about something basic to human decency?
Okay, so for the people who just came, we barely started. We just said there's a story, and people go into this shul, and he sees a sign that says "Don't punch your friend." He's like, "What is this? Like, I'm scared. Should I leave the shul?" Like, he didn't say that, but I'm adding that in. Because who are these people that are just gonna punch their friend? You need to have a sign for this. So do you have an answer? Like, what kind of people are these people? Why would they need this kind of sign? Anyone could answer. Okay, Emma says they're normal people. Why are they normal?
Because everyone gets a little angry sometimes. Whatever, just sign's just there. I think it's not really to actually stop any fights. I think it's just to prove a point.
Okay, what's the point?
That sometimes like you need reminders in life. I don't know.
Yeah. Adina, yeah.
Maybe it's a sign for kids or something. Because kids like don't always like when they get angry, they like kind of punch their friend or bite their friend or something. I mean, not always, but sometimes,
Right.
especially when they're little. So like they don't always know better, so they need like a basic sign that says something like that.
Okay,
I
the
don't know.
answer to this question, thank you all for sharing. The answer to this question is found in the next part. Adina, you want to read this? The next blue?
Sure. In Slobodka, Poland is one of the central shuls in town, hung a sign with those words. This was the town that housed one of the most famous Musar yeshivas in pre-World War II Europe. Yet they needed such a sign, and so much like we now have signs that read, "It is forbidden to speak during davening." They had the sign that read, "It is forbidden to punch your friend." The reason was because the Jews in Slobodka lived amongst the Gentiles of Poland. In a typical Polish house, if the woman burnt the potatoes, the man of the house would promptly smack her right across her face. Oh my gosh. That was normal, expected behavior. While the Jews certainly were different, the surrounding culture affected them. It changed the way they treated their own wives, and it changed the way they acted towards each other. Oh, wow.
Okay, so explain, Adina.
So they needed to, what I think I mean, talking about, like, they needed to have such a basic sign because of the way, like, their neighbors were acting around them. Like, we used the non-Jews, if a wife does something wrong, the non-Jews will smack the wife. So they kind of, I guess, were influenced by that behavior. So they needed a basic sign that says, "Don't do that,"
Right.
like as like a reminder not to do that.
Right. I feel like you learn from this that your standards and morals are set by what's normal in society and the social norms and by who you surround yourself with. These people are surrounded by all people who like maybe they're used to smacking each other across the face, so it's something that's normal in their community. And that's why they needed this sign. And like you can't obviously judge anyone, but that their society it was normal a little bit to smack other people, so they needed this sign. With that, we will go to the Mishneh Torah, which I'll read. Okay. דרך ביתו של אדם להיות נמשך בדעותיו ובמעשיו אחר דעיו וחבריו ונוהג כמנהג אנשי מדינתו. It is a natural tendency of man to be influenced in his ideas and conduct by his fellows and associates, and to follow the usage of the people of his state. So Rambam is saying in here, which we all know, and that you are who you surround yourself with, and your surroundings 1,000% affect you. And I think it's important to know, like on an individual level, in your own friends, on a community level, and on a country level. And on an individual level, I feel like it's this famous quote Yeah. Okay, Emma's saying you're judged by the company you keep.
I don't know if that's what you're thinking.
It wasn't what I was thinking of, but just like thinking about how like you are, if you want to know about their friends, then look at the person. Like if I'm dating someone and I'm gonna ask them who are your friends because it really tells you about the person. But I want to continue. Therefore, yeah, go, Dina.
I feel like, yeah, that could be true, obviously, but I feel like there's always exceptions to the rule it's not always true. Like sometimes you can hang out with a certain group of people, but that person could be totally different. Like,
That is true.
or like the
Yeah, I'm glad
opposite.
you brought that up. No, it's true. I think that's true. There's always exceptions, and you can't really judge people. But like, just trying to emphasize the point that you are influenced by your surroundings and by who you spend your time with. For sure. So לפיכך, צריך אדם להתכבד לצדיקים ולשווא אצל החכמים תמיד, כדי שילמוד ממעשיהם ויתרחק מן הרשעים, ההולכים בחושך כדי שלא ילמוד ממעשיהם. So therefore, you need to obviously hang out with tzaddikim, and not with like poor company, so that you can learn from them. And ויתרחק מן הרשעים ההולכים בחושך כדי שלא ילמוד ממעשיהם. I already read that, but הוא ששלמה אומר, הולך את חכמים יחכם ורואה כסילים ירוע, ואומר אשרי האיש. So like the famous Tehillim, the first Tehillim, אשרי האיש אשר לא הלך בעצה הרשעים ודרך החטאים לא עמד. Like when you go, even if you put one foot with these bad people, it will influence you. And then another pasuk from Mishleh, he that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but companion fool shall smart for it, like will be not smart. So this is a very obvious point, but like very important, and we're going to develop it more by looking at this, then we're going to go further with this idea. Okay, so the Pirkei Avot. Yeshua ben Perachia v'nitei ha'arav, not here. V'nitei ha'arba beli kiblu mehem. Yeshua ben Perachia אומר, עשה לך רב וקנה לך חבר והבא דן כל אדם בכף זכות. Okay, so very famous Pirkei Avot, and there's a million explanations, but one thing that I just want to point out that I saw, which was nice, is when it says עשה לך רב וקנה לך חבר, maybe they're the same person. Maybe your friend is your teacher. And I think that's like that should be one of our goals, that we should surround ourselves not only with people as good as us, but even better, so that we can learn from them. Okay. And we could see this in the next source even. Okay. Hidba limadati. Oh no. So hadbe lamadati merabotai umechavera yoted merabotai. I've learned much from my teachers, but more from my friends than my teachers. Because I guess your friends you surround yourself with and you watch the way they act. And it really, really does influence you. Okay, but let's continue. We'll get a little more juicy. So this is another Pirkei Avot, 6-9. And anyone want to read it? Or actually I can read it, but wait, someone chatted me. I like that. Thanks, Adina. Okay. I'm gonna read it actually. Said Rabbi Yossi ben Kizma. One time I was walking on the road and a man met me and greeted me, and I returned the greeting. He said to me, "My master, from which place are you?" I said to him, "I am from a great city of sages and scribes." He said to me, "My master, do you wish to live among us in our place? And I would give you thousands of golden dinarim, specific unit of money, and precious stones and pearls." I said to him, "If you were to give me all the silver, gold, precious stones, and pearls in the world, I would not live but in a place of Torah." So here again, you see that like the place that you live and who you surround yourself with is so special and valuable, and you wouldn't give it up for any money in the world. It's priceless. Okay, now we're going to get a little more work-filled. That's not really a word, but like you're going to have to work now and think. So now, anyone want to read this pasuk? Lo yasud shevet Yehuda. Okay, Jen will read it. Go, Jen. Yeah, go. Okay, good. So the scepter shall not depart from Yehuda, nor the ruler stay from between his feet, so that tribute shall come to him and the homage of people be his. Okay, interesting, not random, but pasuk about Yehuda, talking about he'll be great for all the generations. Okay, next pasuk. Should I just read it? I'll just read it. Okay, but great reading, Jen. Okay, Bnei Yisachar Yodeh Bina Leitim Adat Ma Yaseh Yisrael Shehem Atayim Mechol Achehem Al Pihem. So it's talking about the Shevet Yisachar and how they'll be great. Second, just this better. How they'll be great people and they'll tell Israel how to act and just praises to them. Then last pasuk I brought is I want to just read this part, okay, from Zebulun, such as hold the marshal staff. So I was talking about Ephraim, that came from them, Amalek, and Binyamin, also not good, like a bad leader came from him. But then from Zebulun, they were all good, and they're going to hold the staff, and they're like leaders. So I brought these Pesukim on purpose, Yehuda, Yisachar, and Zebulun. Anyone want to try to remember where those three names come together? Why am I choosing those Shevatim? Yehuda, Yisachar, and Zebulun.
Aren't they on the same flag?
Yes, so Emma...
They set up the Machane when they were camping together. They were on the same side.
Amazing. Okay, so Emma said that these people came together. Like, they were all on the east side of... Yeah. They're all on the east side of the Machane, with, like, the flag on Yehuda, and then Yisachar and Zebulun. Okay, so let's see why this is significant, though. We're going to go to the next source. 1 second. Okay. הלוויים יחנו סביב למשכן העדה. משה ואהרון בנה במזרח. Okay, so the Mishkan is in the middle, and then Aaron and Moshe and their children, whatever, are on the right side. Okay. שנאמר, והחונים לפני המשכן קדמה, שומרים משמרת המקדש, וסמוכים להם יהודה ויששכר וזבולון. Okay, so interesting. So it's saying on the right side, who's next to them? Yehuda, Yisachar, and Zebulun. מכאן אמרו, אשר לצדיק ואשרי לשכניו. אלו שלושת השבטים שהיו סמוכים למשה ואהרון, נעשו גדולים בתורה. So here, it's saying that why we just brought three random Pesukim, but it's quoted from this Midrash Tanhuma, that all talk about how Yehuda is great, Yisachar is great, and Zebulun, and they're all like leading in Torah. And then here it's saying in this Midrash, why? Because they were close to Moshe and Aharon. Just their location made them to be great because your surroundings, again, influence you. Yeah.
With Korach, in the beginning it says when it says from Shevet Reuven, which happened to be right next to Korach and Agathon. So
you got it. That's it. If I didn't say the negative part, but at the end of this midrash, it says exactly "Min hadam kehat uzmuchim Reuven v'Shimon v'Gad." מכאן אמרו אוי לרשע ואוי לשכנו. אלו שלושת השבטים שהיו שכנים לקורח ועדתו בדרום. So amazing. Okay, now I want to go a little further and not only talk about the positive, like go get the best friends, surround yourself with good people, but the negative. Okay. So we're going to read. Continuing in the Mishneh Torah. That is a loud bird. Okay. וכן אם היה במדינה שמנהגותיה רעים ואין אנשים הולכים בדרך ישרה, ילך למקום שאנשיה צדיקים ונוהגים בדרך טובים. So it's saying, if you live in a bad place, you have to move places. Okay, then he goes even further. So basically, if you live in a place and there's a Reshaim, time to move. I don't care if it's hard. ואם היו כל המדינות שהיו יודעם ושומע שמעוטם נוהגים בדרך לא טובה כמו זמננו, או שאינו יכול ללכת למדינה שמנהגותיה טובים מפני הגייסו ומפני החולה יושב לבדו יחידי כעניין שנאמר ישב בדוד ואידום. So if it's very hard for you to move and you can't find a good community, or you're going to have to go to the army and like all things aren't working out, you should isolate yourself and live in seclusion. So this is, again, live alone, move places, or live alone. Now let's see even further. They're not letting you sit alone. They're saying, they're making you assimilate. במנהגם הרע, יצא למערות ולחבטים הרעות. ואל ינהיג עצמו בדרך חטאים כעניין שנאמר, מי יתננו דבר מלון אורחים. Okay, so you can't move places, you try to move places, but you can't live alone, and they're gonna make you assimilate, so you can't live alone, what I just said. You have to live in a cave. Yeah, so any thoughts on this? Move places, live alone, live in a cave. A little bit extreme, Emma is saying. I would agree. Yeah.
But then how, like, what is defined as a rasha? You know, because I feel like there's so many things that could make someone considered rasha.
Yeah. No, okay, so what's it called? Nancy, what is a rasha? Like, what would you be considered to tell you to move places or like all these crazy things? Anyone want to comment, unmute themselves, or chat? I don't think there's an answer, but what do you think? I mean, I'll research more and write it down so I could. But
I think it's hard to classify someone like that because people have so many different character traits. One day they could be having a good day and they could be like, oh, the best person to hang out with, they're so positive, and the next day something happened, you know what happened, you can't really judge people, and then they're down and they're not really behaving in a nice way. So you can't really classify someone.
And then you also have Ezer Vachama and Kol Adam, like we learn from everyone.
right. Okay. So the question was, what do you think is like make or break? If there's such a rasha and they have this quality, you have to move places and you can't be near them. This is a good discussion in general. That was the question. I know, this is its own class. I need to think about it for myself even.
Samantha, I still didn't catch the question. Can you say it one more time?
Yeah. Okay, so right now we're talking about, thank you, Jacqueline. Right now we're talking about that you have to move away if you live in a bad country or like they're sha'im and you are who your friends are and your surroundings affect you. So Rambam in his Hilchot are saying, first surround yourself with good people, and then he says, but if there's no good people, you have to move. And if, again, they're like, whatever, you can't be in a good society, you have to live alone. And if, again, you're trying to live alone, but they're not letting you, you have to live in a cave. So we're trying to ask, who is it Rasha that you need to run away from? Is that clear? Okay.
You said, who is it, Rasha, that what? What was the ending of your question?
That you have to, like, run away from.
Uh-huh. It sounds like a law in Sedom. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that's what we're going to get to.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's just continue. Furthermore, exactly. Emma Noach, which is about, you guys guessed my detour. Okay. ונוח מצא חן בעיני השם, אלא תולדות נוח, איש צדיק תמים היה בדורותיו, את האלוהים התהלך נוח. So we are on the purple. Okay. So to bring us into Noach, I would ask you who the father of Judaism is. Abraham. Excellent answers. That is correct. And was there anyone righteous before Abraham?
Yes.
No. Okay, not righteous. Why wasn't he the father of Judaism?
Good in comparison to his daughter.
Well, that's just what I'm going to ask.
Okay.
Right? How many years was it? I was forgetting.
I don't know, but it was 10 generations.
Yeah.
Adino, yeah.
I was gonna say because like he didn't try to influence his surroundings like Avram did.
Yeah, like when Abraham prayed for Stone.
Exactly. You guys are getting it. Excellent, Ruthie. Also, he didn't discover it the way Abraham did. Okay. So let us see the sources. So yes, right now we just read Noach. I should run an open light.
I think the core here is just carrying out other people. Because
Right.
that's why they destroyed Sodom, and that's why Abraham's family.
Yeah, what were you saying?
I said I think like the core here is just having empathy for other people. So that's why Abraham is the founder of Judaism, and that's why they destroyed Sodom because they like didn't really care about each other, and also solve that problem.
Right. So Emma's saying the core and why he's the father of Judaism is because he had empathy and influence, tried to help other people and care for other people. But now my question is, how could you like be next to other people? We just said to run away from them and go live in a cave.
It's a good solution to life.
Right. So Jen said an influencer. So let's see how we could be an influencer versus being influenced. Okay. Let's continue with Noah, and we're gonna get to our answer. So Noah, we just said he's great. Yes, famous question, בדורותיו. יש מן אבותינו דורשים אותו לשבח, כל שכן אלו היה בדור צדיקים, היה צדיק יותר, ויש שדורשים אותו לגנאי, בדורו היה צדיק, אלו היה בדורו של אברהם, לא היה נחשב לכלום. So there are people that say that he's great, because even with the horrible people, he was a tzaddik. But there are others that say, no, he's not so great, because if he was with Abraham, he wouldn't have been seen as such a great tzaddik.
I think the key is, though, is that he's not with Abraham. So you can't judge him at a different time, because that's the time period he was in. And that's what happened.
Right. Yeah, so now I want us to think about Noah in general. Do we think he's a good guy or bad guy, or like in between? Like, what do we think of him? Yeah, okay. You could feel free to chat. Like, what do we think? If you just think about Noah's story, do we think of him, like, what are his flaws, strengths? I don't know, thinking about him.
I think he's a middle kind of guy.
Okay, why?
Because the all the way good side would have been that he was like tried to change everyone else and like tried to influence everyone, and then the bad side would have been if he got assimilated with everyone else. So I'd say like he did what he was supposed to do. He was in the cave. But he didn't go like but he didn't go.
Right. So I don't know if you hear Jen, but she just said a beautiful answer. She's basically saying he's like, I would say he's Tom from the Pesach story. Like, he's just a simple, I don't know if he's a simple guy. And also we're just like discussing, but I think it's nice even though whatever. Okay, dog. Anyway, so I think let's read the story, and then we'll make our thoughts about. Oh yeah, Adina, go.
I think Noah is a good person. Like, he's just like a regular nice person because he was able to put himself in a cave and kind of separate himself from all the bad.
Yeah, that really is very praiseworthy. Like, imagine your whole generation.
He did what he was supposed to, but he didn't go above and beyond.
Right. Emma's saying he did what he's supposed to, but he didn't go above and beyond.
Which doesn't make him any less of a tzaddik.
Yeah, he didn't go above and beyond, but like he did more than like a lot of people in his generation did. A lot of people in his generation didn't do anything. They were sinning and doing all this bad stuff. Like, yes, he could have went above and beyond and tried to convince them to do tshuva or anything, but like I feel like he deserves a little bit of praise because he wasn't like them. He was able to separate himself.
Yeah. Okay, so let's read his story very quickly. So God saw people horrible, kill them. So God said to Noah, I have decided to put an end to all flesh, for the earth is filled with lawlessness. Because of them, I'm about to destroy them with the earth. Then he continues, like, make a teva and all these things. Just interesting to like point out the dialogue between God and Noah, and he's telling him, I'm about to go destroy the world. Now go do this. And then later, and then again he says later, like a few pesukim, I'm about to bring the flood and destroy the whole world, all the flesh under the sky in which there is breath of life. Everything on earth shall perish. Imagine you heard this. It's a little crazy. Like, I'm about to go destroy the entire world. Okay, so it's interesting, his response. And I guess to think more about it, we're going to compare him to Abraham, which you guys already called upon. So what do you think of when I say Abraham? Okay, so Emma said, Ten Nisyonot. Everyone feel free to unmute or chat. Or speak in real life. Okay, so yeah, Jen said the founder / starter of our nation. Yeah, Emma says Brit Ben Habetarim. Adina, go. Oh, Nancy said excellent. Yeah.
When I think of Avram, I think like he thinks of more than just himself. Like, I guess someone said chesed, like, that's what I think of. Like, he's not just thinking about himself, he's thinking about other people also, how to help other people.
Agreed. Chesed, Elian said that also. Beautiful. Okay, so these are just some things that I think about, and I brought the Pesukim. Hashem el Avraham, lech lecha ma'atzecha mimoladetecha mibet avicha el haaretz asher eka. So the first time we meet him, he says, like, go, like, whatever, leave your land. And everyone knows all the midrashim from before, even though it doesn't say it in the text, but that his family were idol worshippers and he killed the idols and all these things. Okay. The next thing that I think of is Vayisa einav vayad v'hineh shlosha anashim nitzavim alav vayad vayadot likratam lepetach ha'ol v'yishtachavu arza. I think of his haknasat orchim, his third day of his brit milah, and he's in pain, and then he still goes and welcomes the guest. And then I think of Hashem amar hamechaseh ani ma'Avraham asher ani oseh. So this weird dialogue with Sodom and Lot. Oh, God says, should I hide myself from Avraham with what I'm about to do? Okay, the Avraham is going to be a great person. I have to tell him. Like, this is like, I think a midrash or something where you hear the conversation between God and the angels. And then again, like, okay, he's going to destroy Sodom, and he tells Avraham, and Avraham stands up and he says, no. Omed lifnei Hashem, vayigash Avraham vayomer ha'afti spes hadik im rasha. Okay. So just thinking about this, yeah, okay, sorry, let me just get my thing, okay, perfect, okay, so a few things I think about when I think of this. Avraham, lech lecha, that even him, he went far away, not maybe to I guess to another mountain, from these bad people, because, I mean, obviously God told him and like this whole backstory, but I think it's even just like, it clicked in my brain, like, whoa, like he's leaving this place of Reshaim, just like we were talking about before. Like, so too, he could be a little influenced, and this is not where he should be. And I think for me, I think of, like, us too, a lot of times we think we're above the situation, we're above the crowd. Like, I could still be good in this place, but like, there's a sense of al ta'amin ba'atzmech ad yom motech. You can't believe yourself until the day you're dead, because you always got to be on your toes, and you always got to be careful and realize that a situation is very powerful. Psychology, one thing you learn in social psychology the whole year, the theme: don't trust yourself. Like, no, really, because the situation, people are in a medical office and people are just standing up, and then I start standing up too, because it's just something that people are doing. I don't want to be weird. I don't want to be like, look different. So you do weird things because your surroundings really, really do influence you. Okay. Yeah, exactly. It's the fundamental attribution theory and a million different things. Okay, so that's one. That even Abraham left. So think about yourself. Another thing is, I think that we need to like tell ourselves that a small thing really can lead to like a next big thing. Like, there's so many stories, but if you put one foot in the door, danger zone, because it leads to another foot, it leads to sitting, just like in Tehillim, the first Tehillim. You're just standing, you're walking, and then you're sitting, and then you're laughing, and then you're discussing with them. And the whole other class would be, if you're responsible, if you're with bad people, not bad people, but if you're with people and let's say they get into trouble or like they do bad things, are you responsible? I think so, honestly. Partially, yeah. Another thing, and I even think of high school. Like, I remember listening to someone's conversation once when they were with these friends and they did certain things, and this person got suspended also. She's like, I didn't do anything. I was just with these people, but if you're with the people, it's dangerous.
It's like when you're in class and like one person talks during the class and people like -5 for everyone.
Yeah. The next lesson or thing that I could learn from Abraham in comparison to Noah is that, one second. Okay. How do we explain Chabad? Chabad is surrounding themselves I went to Chabad in Amsterdam. There's like no Jewish thing. There's like they're bringing their whole family, their kids, everyone to this foreign place. Like what are you doing? Rambam could say, "Are you serious? You need to go to a cave. You need to get out of here. You can't be. You can't. You're putting yourself in a place that's dangerous and that's reshaim and bad people, and they assimilate and they drink and drugs and who knows what." Right. So they're being the influencers. And I think I was reading in whatever commentary, and I didn't bring the source, but I'm pretty sure Chacham Avad Yosef says it in one of his Teshuvot, that he said that if you want to be an influencer and you don't want to be affected by other people, you have to be so aware at all times that you're giving. And like if you're always giving in this situation, you're not going to lose focus because you know, and I think that like ties to the chesed. And like if you're always trying to influence others, and you're always thinking about the other person, there's no way you're going to be influenced, which is interesting. Like to think if that's true. Like I guess, but I feel like it's more being conscious. If you're very in control and you're aware, then maybe you could create the environment of Torah and be the Chabad person and be the Abraham, standing up and putting yourself in these quote unquote dangerous places to become an influencer. But I want to go a little further. And so I want to read this another Pirkei Rabbi Chanina ben תרדיון עומד, שניים שיושבים ואין ביניהם דברי תורה, הרי זה מושב לצים שנאמר, ובמושב לצים לא ישב, אבל שניים שיושבים ויש ביניהם דברי תורה, שכינה שרויה ביניהם. Two people could be sitting and they're not talking about Torah and they could be just laughing and speaking Lashon Hara. Then there could be two people together and you're speaking Torah. When you speak Torah, you bring the Shekhinah to this place. And I think this is like beautiful. Like it's not only not doing the negative, but you're having an active role to create a positive, and you're looking at the potential in your other person. It's like you have to be the change you wish to see. Exactly, Jacqueline. That's my ending line, by the way, my quote. But okay, exactly. Like you need to create that environment and see the potential of the people and the potential in you who can make this beautiful thing and influence your situation. But I want to just, 1 second, go back to Noah and Abraham and compare them. So Noah walked with God. But with Abraham it says, so it's saying that Noah is walking with God and Abraham is walking before God. Anyone want to try to explain that based on what we're talking about? Yeah, go, Emma.
I think Noah's just taking like the safer bet and going along with it, which is understandable coming from his environment. But also, I think Abraham is like trying to, as we were saying before, being the change. Like he was trying to stand up. He was not walking in. He was like, as it says, walking in front of God. He was just trying to like stand up for what he thinks he thought was right.
Right. Excellent. Love it, Emma. Anyone else have any thoughts? Abraham took initiative and didn't wait. Yes. But now my question is to you. Is everyone an Abraham? And should everyone be one?
No, and that's why we have the Rambam thing.
Okay, so Emma said no because that's why we have that Rambam thing about the cave. What were you going to say, Nancy?
Like, no. Because even if I feel like taking the example like a role model, right? I have a lot of role models in my life, and like they are like influencers, right? But like not necessarily. I never think like I want to be that person. It's more like I aspire to have certain qualities like implemented into my life. So like I don't necessarily think like I see like if we're talking about him like as a role model, but it doesn't necessarily mean like be like that person.
Yeah. Agreed. Okay. So Nancy said a beautiful thing and I feel like you heard it, so I'm not gonna repeat it. Yeah, Jen, what do you want to say?
No, I'm still thinking.
Okay, she's still thinking. Adina, did you want to say something? Okay, wait, let's see the chat. Abraham is influencer and Noah is the influence. Ooh, deep,
That's
deep.
not true though.
Okay.
He wasn't influenced. He actually.
He's like the influencee, like being influenced, I guess.
Oh, the
'cause he's going along
influencee,
with her
sorry.
child. Yeah.
Right.
No, it's all good.
Okay. Yeah. interesting. I see your point. Okay, so let's just wrap this up. Sorry. Okay, so I think the difference. First, to answer my own question, I don't think that everyone. I think the ideal is to be an influencer, but I don't think that everyone's an influencer at this point in their life, and should force it. Because the first step is what I'm gonna say after, is you gotta know yourself. This is like a theme of our class. You have to know who you are and your personality, and then adapt to the situation. If I know that I'm gonna be easily influenced by other people, I cannot go say, oh, I'm gonna go to this party so I can influence people not to do this. No, because you're gonna be influenced. So that's not good. But I do think the ideal is like what we said with Rabbi Sachs once, is to be so in the world and be a partner in creation with God. And that's why he went, like Abraham went before God. And Noah, we would say walked with God, but like Abraham took a step further and created the path with Hashem and said, okay, like, yeah, we're going to be a light onto the nations. We're going to take the initiative. We're going to influence other people. But this, like, I think he was able to, but maybe Noah wasn't. And again, to know yourself, and balance is key, of course. That's always the answer. Like, it is important to shelter yourself and make sure you don't get mixed in physical or temptations, like we were talking about last week. But at the same time, I would say an even greater achievement, while extremely difficult and tricky, is to be like Abraham and take an active role in our lives and in the betterment of ourselves, our friends, communities, and the world. Like, not only surrounding yourself with people, but like creating that environment. There is that good people and there is that good conversation. And second, again, like I said, very important to know yourself and understand that you're not up to that level. And then you should run away to the cave. And you shouldn't just put yourself in these dangerous situations. And finally, just think about, like, for your own self, who you surround yourself with. If there's times when your values don't align with your actions for a certain thing, and like why this happened, and maybe what it means about yourself, like, just think. Jacqueline said, emphasizing that knowing yourself means evaluating what your values are and the concept of leading by example. Exactly. And finally, hopefully one day we'll all be able to create change in our own friend group and in our communities and in the world and in ourselves, to always assess our values and if our actions are aligning. And with that, remember that there's no punching in shul. Okay, thanks guys. Any comments, feel free to.
Thank you, Samantha. That was great.
Thank you.
No problem.
It was so nice.
Thank you for coming and contributing, and feel free. Love you too, Jack.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You. Bye.
Have a great night.
Sam, do you believe that anyone could be a leader?
No, I don't. But I think that everyone can be a giver. And like I always tell people, I want everyone to write a book. Because everyone has their own experiences, their own thing. And like, I do want to write a book. But like, you could learn so much from people. Like what you said before, and like, therefore, I think everyone has something to give and share that another person could learn from. And that is leading to me. But like, I don't think everyone should be a leader. But I think everyone should be an influencer.
Right, meaning you don't believe everyone should be a leader, but do you believe everybody should be leading by example? Meaning, like, live your lives by a way that you think is exemplar. I can't say the word.
Exemplary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I believe that.
That's what I thought. I was just curious. Sam, love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jacqueline.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for coming. What are you gonna say?